Welcome to Local Focus. We got another good show for you this week. Glad to have you tuned back in. Don't forget, baseball playoffs right around the corner, so be sure to log on to our website, proviewNetworks.com. Get your NFHS Network pass if you don't have them already, but the playoffs are almost here. Excited about the show this week. We have never had a guest from Sandia Prep. So the very first Sun Devil ever in the studio is one of my favorite players in the city, Mac Manzanares. Mac, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me.
Absolutely. I love your story because, and we're going to get into all of this, but like you go from, well, we rewind a little bit to the end of your senior year, you're just dominating, right? In district play, like you're dropping 30 every night. But it started so much earlier than that, like you were literally the tall, goofy kid, weren't you?
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
And then like your confidence started to grow and you're dropping 30 burgers every night. Like it was amazing. So I want to get into that, definitely. But I'm sure it starts way back sooner than that because you come from a very athletic family, right? Talk about that.
Well, my dad was, during his time, one of the best basketball players in the state. He had a state championship when he was a sophomore, and he was dropping 30 pieces as well. So I have that to try to live up to. And then my great uncle being a coach at Escalante.
Your dad played at Escalante, right?
Yes.
So he's, for those that don't know, he works at UNM now, right? Associate athletic director there. But like his stories are legendary, like so legendary that they get bigger every time he tells them, right?
Definitely.
Like it goes from like I dropped 20 to 25. I think the last time he told me a story, he said they played on 15-foot rims. Can that be true?
I don't know. You'll have to ask him again.
Right? But so here's this legacy, right? I mean, people know that your dad was really good at Escalante, right? And so I'm sure he's always been a basketball guy, right? Because he went on to coach after that. So let's start there, and we'll go back to the rest of the family in a moment. But so you've probably always been around basketball in some way or another around your dad, right?
Oh, for sure. When he was coaching at Highlands, my dad would always tell me I'd be running around the top, just causing havoc while he's trying to coach the guys on the court. So I've always been exposed to basketball since I was walking age, before that too.
I would imagine that's very cool as a player, but it also comes with some pressure, right?
Oh, a ton of pressure, especially when he was a scorer first kind of person, and I've had struggle with that mentality building up my high school career, so it's hard to live up to something like that.
But he's not the only one. You're talking about your uncle. He's got a legacy there in Escalante as well, right?
Yeah, multiple state champions, one of the greatest coaches there, and in the state is history, so that's a lot to live up to too.
And we can't leave out your mom because she track, right?
Track, cross country. She held the Powaka 2-mile record for a while there, and she was also a cheerleader. So yeah, both sides are very athletic.
Okay, and then so now you and your sisters obviously are very athletic as well, right? You have some sisters as well, right?
I have my sister, she's a junior in volcano. She has got 2 state champions,
right.
and then,
but she probably never rubs that in, right?
No, never. She's actually very humble.
Oh, really?
I appreciate it.
I would wear my ring every time I'm around you.
No, yeah, she's she's very appreciative, and she never rubs it in. She was almost when we never got, because I never got a state championship. She was almost more concerned that I didn't than her getting it herself. So I really appreciate that about her.
Okay. No, like she never rubbed it in once. No rivalry at all. Like that's so rare when siblings are not competitive.
Yeah. Well, we're competitive when we go to the court together, but I think when we're trying to get more accomplishments in the grand scheme of things, we're fighting for the same purpose.
So a pretty good support system, right? It sounds like you guys support each other well. I mean, I've seen you at a ton of volcano games, so I know you support her well. So that's who is the most competitive in the family when it comes to athletics and stuff like that?
It's tough to say because, I mean, my dad's one of the all-time competitors, and he passed those genes on to me, my brother, and sister. So every time we're out there, sometimes we'll just cry because we're so passionate about what we're doing.
Now, your brother's playing as well, right, at Sandia Prep, so he's got a few years to go as well, right?
Yeah, he's came in as a freshman this year. He came out on varsity and he actually got some playing time. That was more than I can say as a freshman.
Right.
So
We'll get to that. We'll get to your freshman year, right? What about, like, does your pops ever take you to Escalante and be like, watch this, and just walk around like the king of Escalante?
No, he doesn't really like to do that. He go to his old stomping grounds and show off. It's like, if he does, it's more people talking about him than him talking about himself, actually.
So, okay, we talked about the most competitive, right? But who's the one that, like, has passed on the most knowledge in that athletic family? Like, if there's something you need athletically, where do you go?
My dad.
Yeah.
He has all the knowledge available there.
Right. And of course he's got all these tools as well, right? Because he can be like, hold on, let me get you Coach Patino on the phone, right? Like, so, so there's all these other kind of ancillary benefits as well, right? Like what has he passed on to you that really stands out? Whether that be advice, whether that be something he taught you in the driveway. I mean, what?
I guess the biggest advice, not only for basketball but for life in general, is just always be confident in yourself and always look to assert your will, kind of like. Because like I said, I was having trouble really scoring. I was always a pass-first player, and then he would always try and get that in my mind that the only way, I guess the quote that he always says is, the only way to score is to shoot the ball. So that's what I try to live up to.
That sounds like a norteño, right? Just shoot the ball.
Yeah, shoot the ball.
Right? But you talked about confidence, and that's where I want to go next. We're going to take our first time out with Mac here in just a second, but confidence didn't come easy for you, like, and you do a really good job talking about that, but how you built your confidence and you really came into your own. So I want to talk about that and that process of building that confidence and building it on the floor and building it in yourself, because your story is amazing in that regard, how you went from not having that confidence to just dominating. So we'll pick it up from there when we get back with Mac Manzanares.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at CarCrafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
CarCrafters, it's like it never happened.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili, breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the Pet Supply Superstore. ClarksPets.com.
High school sports are back. You can watch every Proview Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProviewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
All right, we're back with Sandia Prep's Mac Manzanares. All right, we talked about, we want to get into this confidence and how you built it. But so take me to your freshman year on campus. Obviously, you knew you were going to play basketball, right? Because you enjoyed it, and obviously you had, your dad and this legacy. But tell me about Mac Manzanares, the freshman.
Well, like you said, I just hit a growth spurt coming from 8th grade to freshman year. I was about 6'1" at the time, and then I guess it really started. I joined cross country. My team, some of my friends convinced me to join cross country because we didn't have a football team. So running cross country was, my dad didn't understand why I was doing it because you see me out there on the track and stuff, and I have no form. It's just awkward. It looks
just
like
a lot of limbs.
A lot of limbs just
flailing?
moving, flailing,
like a big giant bird.
Yeah, it looks like it hurts.
I got it.
It looks like it hurts to run.
Right.
And so it's not there. I was trying to see what I was good at, and then coming into like Sandia Prep because they were always competitive. They always got some of the best guys in the state there, and trying to find a spot among those guys has always been a struggle for me because they're just so good, and like you're trying to become them. They're all seniors, way bigger than me.
Right.
It's just tough there.
So, so what are some of those growing pains? Like, there's got to be times where you're like, man, thinking about maybe this isn't for me. Or, tell us about that, your early freshman year there.
I guess one story that I always look back to as a freshman is we did the drill where, like, you shoot a free throw, and then if you miss, you do some, like, defensive slides back and forth across the court. So they decided, coach put me on the free throw line, and I just started missing the free throws. I miss one, we go down and back like 8 times, and I do that. I miss 8 shots in a row, 8 free throws in a row, and then
that's not good.
No, it was
that's
awful.
A lot of running.
By the last free throw, there's tears in my eyes. I'm embarrassing myself out there. I'm thinking I don't belong.
Right.
And it was just a struggle from there on.
And how do you cope with that from day to day? Like, right, you're going through something here. Like, man, like I'm not doing well here. Like, obviously you have a support system at home, but it's a choice to do it again the next day, to go to practice the next day, to go to practice the next day, right? What made you keep going back?
I guess it was just I didn't want to disappoint my teammates and myself. I knew I had something in me. I knew it was going to take time and effort, so I was always there early. I was always trying to get shots up, and it was just like I knew eventually it would pay off, but just had to struggle for a little bit.
Right. What about, were there teammates that you turned to at that point? I know Sam Henderson comes to mind, right? You have a very good player on your team at that point, and Sam Henderson, probably the best player in that class, and you're trying to get to that level, right? There's the level you're trying to get to, but you're not there. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, Sam Henderson is probably the best basketball player I've watched play. He was amazing, and he always took me under his wing, always helped me out. He was always one of the first ones there to practice as well with me, so he always gave me some extra time and effort, and I really appreciate what he did for me. It was amazing.
So now we go into your sophomore year, right? And you can start to see glimpses, like small glimpses, like, okay, when Mac catches it, occasionally he'll shoot, but he's still passing a lot. Did you notice some growth from your freshman to your sophomore year in your game?
I do. I became more assertive in the paint when I would get the ball. I would try and go for more like offensive rebounds. I'd be aggressive trying to get the ball, but still
still pretty goofy. Can we say goofy still?
Definitely.
Or still a little, still looked a little out of place, right? But you could see that you were growing into your body still, right? Because you kept growing, right? You got taller.
Yeah, I think I was 6'2", 6'3" at the time, and still growing, and still, my mentality was like you said, Sam Henderson was on my team. I had Max Fide, a bunch of great players. So I was like, if I get the ball, why not give it to them? Because they're probably going to score more than I am.
So, and again, that was a great team. You guys lost to the championship to Bosque, which was another great team, right? We just lost Elijah recently. And, talk about him and how good that team was.
They were complete. Clifton is one of the best coaches out in the entire state, and I have immense respect for him. And then Elijah was just a special. You could see when he plays, everything was so smooth with him. He could do everything on the court. I looked to him and I was like, I feared him because he's just such a great basketball player. I didn't know what to do.
Right. Now we fast forward to your junior year. A shortened season, obviously, because of COVID, but you start coming into your own. Like, now you talk about smooth, like now it looked like you belong, right? Like there was a smoothness to your game. You were comfortable when you caught the ball. So what went into that? Obviously, you put a lot of work in during the off season, so talk about that.
Yeah, I just decided to take more of a leadership role. It's still hard because I had about 8 seniors on the team, and I'm one of the only technically underclassmen. So I'd say I'd give a lot of credit to Coach Rivera for building a structure that really put me in like center focus kind of, and he really helped me adapt to what the team needed, and that's what I did, just adapt to what the team needed.
Now, you also have our very own Steve Davis in your ear, right?
Yes,
like
that's
the
true.
pride of Clovis telling you, Mac, you got to score, Mac, you got to do this, right? Talk about how that helped you a little bit as well, right?
Yeah, that offseason, or I think it was the offseason sophomore year, I was coached by Mike Danoff and Steve Davis, and I have to give almost all my credit to them because they are the ones that really pushed me to look to score and look to be a basketball player, really. So I wouldn't be anywhere with either of those two. So I don't know what to say about them.
And I mean, they're pretty, like, I'm around Steve during basketball, and he's, like, pretty no-nonsense when it comes to basketball, right? And I know Coach Danoff was the same way, like, hey, get better, go score, right? Like, that's their mentality, just do better, right?
Yeah.
How did that help you?
Well, I was timid at the time, and then I'd get the ball in my hand, and I'd be wide open. I'd just pass it off, and then during games, they'd just be screaming at me to shoot the ball. It's yelling at the top of the lungs, shoot the ball, Mac. And eventually, I just had to start chucking it up there. I mean, I wouldn't go in all the time, but just chucking it up there made me feel good. And to be trusted by those two figures, just such powerful and intelligent people, and they believed in me.
They know the game, right?
They know the game, and for them to believe in me and to give me that support was, I don't know what to say. It was amazing.
Now, you know what I started noticing your junior year? That was the COVID year, so, like, we had to start, like, there was basketball tournaments in undisclosed locations, right? That's when you and I would see each other, right? Because I needed that basketball fix, too, so I'd go to some of those tournaments. Your confidence on the court kind of spread off the court as well, right? Like, one thing I've always been very complimentary of you about is the way you carry yourself in public. Like, you're a respectful young man. You know how to talk to adults and people your own age, and that's not always the case. Sometimes athletes don't know how to talk to adults, but it seems like your confidence grew off the floor as well as it was growing on the floor. Did that just happen naturally? Did you notice it? Tell me about that.
I did notice it. I think, you said it started on the court, and then I started applying those principles to everyday life, like be confident in myself, know who I am, and if you have the courage, you can do anything. So that's how I applied it in real life.
So a real classic story of how basketball is so much more than just the ball, right? And the game, right? Like, basketball permeates all parts of your life. Like, did you think that would happen?
I never really thought, because coming in freshman year, it was like that. I didn't know what I was doing here. I don't know what the future of basketball holds for me. But then junior year, I'm like, it's affecting my entire life. Basketball is like helping me improve not only just in sports, but everywhere I look. Right. It was amazing.
So the end of your junior year there, you lose in the finals to Hot Springs. You have an 11-2 season. That was Sam's senior year, right? I mean, from this observer, that was probably San Diego Prep's best chance. Oh, right? Definitely. I mean, I don't know if they're going to have another player the caliber of a Sam Henderson, the caliber of a Mac Manzanares. So that was tough to see that team not finish the job, right, against Hot Springs. Talk about that. I mean, obviously a lot of pressure went into that playoff season because you guys had a target on your back. Like, everyone knew Sam's the guy. He's a senior. It was yours to lose that year. Talk about that.
Well, like I say, I was a junior starting on the team, and the rest of the team, minus one other guy, were seniors. Right. So we're all experienced. We all know our role, and it was like just try and see what we can do. And it was just, I don't know, we struggled in the last game, but building up to that, we played St. Mike's, and they had a hell of a program at the time, too. And with a coach put me as a defensive player. I've never really been a defense-first kind of guy, but then for first round versus St. Mike's, he put me on Flores, another junior, one of the best players in the state as well, and that's where my confidence really started to shine, when I could guard him. And then the following game, playing Matthew Gonzalez, I think the best player in the state. Right. And I was 6'4" at the time. He was 5'5", 5'6", and 2 times as fast as me. And for me to be able to guard him in that was where all my confidence really grew. Right.
What was the vibe like in the locker room after that game? I mean, because that had to be, for the rest of the guys, obviously very dejected, you very dejected, but then did it spring into your mind like, man, everyone around me here is a senior. this is going to be my team next
was.
year. What went through your mind after that loss?
It wasn't so thing. It was like my team was like, this was, yeah, like you said, that was our best chance. And it was like, what's the future going to hold? I was in that short grade. Like, I don't know what's going to happen now. It's my team now, but do I have what it takes to lead this team? And it was just, for the entire summer, it was really scary to envision me being one of the only people to lead the team.
Right. All right, we're taking another time out with Mac here. We want to get through his senior year when we get back, talk a little track and cross country, and what's next for Mac Manzanares. We'll be right back.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number one in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at Car Crafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
All right, let's get into Mac Manzanares' senior year on the court. Rough start, right? But for everyone. It seemed like everyone in the class kind of was off to that same start, right? Like whereas as district approached, you didn't really know who a favorite was in 3A, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so that's where it always helps you guys that you're in the city, right? You're playing a tough schedule always. So, I mean, talk about the beginning of their season. Did it go as expected? I mean, what did you take us through that first half of the year?
Well, for the first game, I mean, for the first half the season, November, December, we're playing 4A, 5A schools in tough tournaments, and I guess my confidence really built up, and I was like, first game of the season, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out there and dominate and show what I got. And then I have 10 points and 8 turnovers. And then I'm like, okay, what do I do now? It's back to square one. So then I think just the rest of the season, we're just like trying to find ourselves. We know we're not going to win a lot of games, if any, because we're playing such a tough schedule. We're just trying to find ourselves and what do we need to do to win. So that's what the really beginning of the schedule was, finding what the team was and how we can use the pieces we have to win. Right.
I remember a phone conversation I had with your pops at that time, right around the beginning of district play. You know, I said, man, there's not a team that's separating itself in 3A. I said, I think you guys can win this thing. And is that the mindset you guys had as a team? I mean, you guys get through the first half of the season. Your record is what it is, but no one's really distinguishing themselves in 3A. I mean, does Coach have that talk with you guys? Okay, this is all that matters now is district play. Like, where's your mindset as a team at that point?
We always knew that district play is what's going to come down to. We knew that if we wanted to make a run at state, we had to dominate in district because that's what we do. We usually dominate in district. Right. And, you know, looking at the rest of the class, everyone was doing, but I think St. Mike's had a 0-11 start, and we weren't doing anything either. So it was like, if we just knew that we had to try to something, and we had a chance. We had a really good chance. We were still a young team at the time. I mean, no one had varsity experience except for me and one other player. So we saw shines of what everyone can do, and it was just trying to get everyone to the same level.
Well, I don't know if anyone quite got to your level in that district season on any team, because all of a sudden you're dropping 30 and 10 a night, like a walking double-double. Like, did you realize that it was going? I mean, obviously the first game you got to be pretty pumped. All right, I've dropped 30, I got my 10 rebounds, double-double. But then when it's happening night after night after night after night, obviously we start talking about it a little bit, right? Did you feel it? Did you feel in the zone? Did you realize what you were accomplishing at the time?
Yeah, I think not only me but the team, we realized we do have a chance at this. All of the pieces are falling into place, and then if we just keep doing it, keep getting a little better, and just getting more confident in ourselves, we could go all the way. And that was it.
I mean, was the basket as big as just the ocean at that part of the season for you? I mean, it didn't seem like you missed, because it wasn't just 30 points, but it was on under the basket, right? Like post moves. It was high possession basketball. Like it was as dominating as I've seen in quite a while. Like, I mean, did the basket just look huge? Like, tell me about that.
I think just after that first half of the season where I was finding myself, finding what my style of play is, because the year before that I was a pass-first player. I was giving the ball to Sam Henderson in the post, and he would score. So like this year I was really finding how I can score with this team. And then by district, I figured it out.
And when you're coming home with a double-double every night, like, what are you telling your dad? Like, hey, did you ever have like this many double-doubles in Escalante? Like, what's that conversation like?
I mean, by the end of the season, my dad said, I don't know if he had as many 30-point games as I did, and that was a really proud moment for me, saying like, my dad, one of the unbeatable guys, saying my season was better than his. It's just the greatest thing I've heard.
I mean, from that first varsity game as a sophomore, right? As the growing pains, the turnovers, the lack of confidence, to dropping 30 points every night in district. Did you think you had that in you?
At sophomore year, I didn't think I had. I thought I was just going to be, get a rebound, go pass the ball to a shooter or something. But when district started, I was like, all right, this is who I am now. I'm the guy that has to score 30 points. I am that guy who I can. So
I mean, for guys that are watching that are, maybe they're not in high school yet, or they're not to your level yet, like something brought that out of you. So I mean, what advice would you give to what advice do you give your younger brother?
Okay.
Tell me, pretend I'm your younger brother, okay? I know I don't look like your younger brother at all, but what advice would you give your younger brother?
I guess the biggest thing that I've always heard is, Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time, and he shoots, 40% from three-point shots?
Right.
You're going to miss your shots, but you just got to keep working, keep putting them in, and they're going to fall eventually. So that's all you got to do. Just know, even the best players in the world, they miss 50% of their shots.
Right.
Not every time. The ball is not going to go in every time. So you just got to believe in yourself.
Right. I know you were very proud to receive the Mike Danoff Scholarship in honor of Coach Danoff. So talk to us about that a little bit.
Mike Danoff was one of the best members of our community, and he helped so many people out. He made me into the man I am today.
Right.
And to be gifted an award in his name is one of the highest, gifts I can receive.
Right.
Just trying to live up to what he did, and it's just amazing.
So what's next?
College now,
right? The college life?
The college life. I'm planning to go to Colorado School of Mines, but the door's still open.
Okay.
And if there's a basketball...
Now, that's one of your dad's RMAC rivals, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, that would be a cool story.
Yeah,
you just go to school, you go to Colorado there, and you come into Highlands and just take it to Highlands. That'd be kind of a neat story, wouldn't it?
Very cool. Mm-hmm.
All right, well, we're going to be watching it very closely, Mac. Again, your story is unbelievable. To go from that kid I remember as a freshman, as a sophomore, that you could see that he had some talent, but he was not sure of himself, to what you did your senior year. It's really inspirational. And we're going to be watching the rest of the way. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. I appreciate everything
Thank you
you've done.
for coming in, and thank you for watching, everybody. Good night.